Oh, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I hope everybody's well. Let's go straight into the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. This ground anointed with perfume, flower-strewn, Mount Meru, foreland, sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the 3 poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam, Niriyataya. I just thought I'd do a slightly longer offering prayer there, which actually that mudra matches. It's translated from Tibetan. So I thought I'd do that today. A little bit of variety for you. Also to help you to keep alert, be aware, and not drift off. And so anyway, as you know, we are talking about, or I'm answering some questions, grouped them together, initially with the four immeasurables there for a while. And now, of course, related to the new year, past, present, and future, the concepts of, and also to consistent improvement, as well as positive change. So I've grouped them into these titles and subtitles, basically. So we'll finish that today, and then we'll move on to beginning the next subject of the 8 verses of thought transformation from next week onwards for a period of time, probably at least a few months, I'd say. And so I hope you will enjoy that teaching. It's a teaching that is quite profound. The more you go into it, the more in depth you go into it. But also it can be understood on a surface level as well, on an ordinary level. Of course, we will perceive it from our own perspective and look to go beyond this to actually penetrate the meaning and then penetrate the practice, you could say, or actually put it into practice to penetrate and also experience the good results of the practice. And to develop or generate the bodhicitta intention with great compassion, as that's the relative bodhicitta, as well as realize the ultimate bodhicitta, realize the wisdom of emptiness, and then unified and perfected, unified with the compassion, with the relative bodhicitta, and then totally perfected beyond limit. That's our goal, of course, is to become what we call an enlightened being, a fully enlightened being. Realize our true nature, to look at it from a different point of view. So I hopefully you will enjoy these classes. And I thank Nellan and Mahendra for emailing me the previous one we used, previous commentary by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that we used a bunch of years ago. I'll have a little read of that. I already read a few pages, but I'll have a little read of that and take some notes if I think it's some more points than I would already cover. Okie dokie. The other thing too, I thought I'd mention now is on the 9th, is it the 9th or maybe the 8th? So it's the second Wednesday in February anyway. I will be giving a Dharma talk, a Zoom Dharma talk online for the Metta Center in Sydney, as I did last year. Last year's subject was commentary on the 5 skandhas. And so this Dharma talk will be commentary on the Metta Sutta, as we've just done. But of course, in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops, I will cover the whole sutra. And we'll do it probably similar to the way we start our classes. We do a bit of chanting and then some meditation. And then I'll give the talk for maybe an hour and then about half an hour of Q&A. So everybody's mics will be open. I know that a few of you participated last year in March when I did it. So you are welcome and free to do it again. And it's Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 7 p.m. until approximately 8:30 p.m. Last year we went about half an hour over. I think we did about 2 hours altogether. Then there's another one that I'll be giving in April. It's the last Wednesday in April, so about, I think the 26th comes to mind, and that I'll be giving commentary on the 6 paramitas. So for those of you that actually have participated in all these classes, it'd be like a revision for you. Obviously, I'll give the commentary over an hour to an hour and a half period, and so it's kind of compressed compared to what we've had already. And for those of you who attended the face-to-face classes over the years, then of course this is very compressed, considering that those Dharma classes were 2 hours long. Okay, so, and sometimes more. Anyway, once again, I'll say, forget everything I just said. You can review this video on the YouTube channel or on Facebook to get the details. Or you can shoot me some text, some email or something, If you want more details, then I'll give them to you as I get them. I do not have the Zoom link, Zoom ID, or the passcode for these Dharma teachings I just mentioned yet. Okay, but I will get them closer to the date. Let's do some meditation. Bring your mind inside your body. Time to focus your mind. Time to release tension in your body. Time to unveil natural contentment, natural happiness, inner happiness. So starting from the tips of your toes, work your way up your body, all the way to your shoulders, then down to the tips of your fingers, and then back up to your neck, and all around your head to the top of your head. So just take a few moments to do this. And as per usual, after you've done it, scan your body once more. You may be able to pick up a little bit more tension that has not been released yet, and then release it. Maybe take a deep in-breath and then a long out-breath and release it on the out-breath. Now bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose, and the object of the meditation, as per usual, is the feeling of the breath as you breathe all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose again. Breathing in your nose, the air is cool on the back of your throat, and then goes into the lungs. They expand as they fill with the air. As you breathe out, the lungs compress. The air is quite warm as it passes your throat on the way out. Out your nose, breathing in, breathing out. If thoughts arise, don't cling to them. Likewise with any mental activity whatsoever. Don't grasp at it. Also, don't try to force it away or even deny it. But let it go naturally by replacing your mind back onto your breath. And if it's to your liking, you can add the extra technique of counting the breaths. One in-breath, one out-breath is one, so on and so forth. Counting up to 10 only. But if you get distracted as you're counting towards 10, at that moment, go back to 1. If your mind starts to become sleepy or dull, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in the practice, and fill yourself with universal loving kindness. Make sure you have the feeling of loving kindness, but you can also add the extra technique of visualization. Visualize your whole being filled with white light, or if you prefer, white nectar. And now also radiate the loving kindness out to others, initially to your loved ones, family and friends, filling them with the loving kindness as well, wishing that they have happiness and the causes of happiness, and also that they are free from suffering and the causes of suffering, that they are peaceful. Radiate further and further. Now include strangers, those people that you may know a little bit or not at all. And also those that you may find difficult or even regard as enemies. May all of these people have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and may they be peaceful. Now let's extend the loving kindness out further and further distance-wise, initially around your immediate area, to all the living beings, all of the people, all of the other creatures that you may know about or not know about. You may have an affinity towards, or indifference towards, or even a fear of. The ones that live in the waters, fly through the air, live on the land, even under the land. Whether they're born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. And now extend this loving kindness out throughout your whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially, those ones that you have an affinity towards, then also those ones that you may be indifferent towards, and those that for whatever reason you may have some negative feelings towards. And also throughout all of the oceans, to the depths of the ocean, even to the center of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. Have your loving kindness pervade throughout this whole planet and beyond. And to other planets as well, throughout the whole solar system. All of the solar system throughout the galaxy. All of the galaxies throughout the universe. Until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. And be present here and now as well to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So, Happy New Year again. It's almost happy February as well. But no time or past, present, future. I think we've covered that. Actually covered that probably in the last 3 classes before the break and the 2 after the break so far. So I won't harp on about that now. I think you should be well versed and to realize that there is no such thing really as time. Even though conventionally you can say there is, but it's a concept of the mind, isn't it? Some people think, oh, time is a physical thing, but actually really it goes into the mind. It's an interesting one, isn't it? When we look out at nighttime, let's say it's a very clear night, no clouds, even no moon up yet, and you see the stars, and you see them either quite bright, depending on where you live, where you're looking from, and sometimes they're flickering, twinkle, twinkle, little star type thing. And but do you think you're seeing a star? Actually, what we're seeing is into the past, isn't it? It's the reflection of light off this physical body, whether you call it a star, a sun, or a planet, or whatever. And it's actually the reflection. And of course, it takes a while for light to travel, apparently. I don't know the exact speed. I can't remember. And it takes a while to get here. So you're looking, let's say you're looking at a star, a so-called star from a distant galaxy. Then you're looking way into the past. So in this sense, you could say past, present, and future exists all in the one moment. And it's likewise for other beings in different places. They may see a reflection of our sun, even though our sun is quite small compared to many of the other ones, apparently. So you can break through, you can contemplate things like this to realize impermanence, of course, but also realize the emptiness of self, of all conditioned phenomena, and contemplate these things. I used to really enjoy, at different times in my life, looking up at the stars at the nighttime, maybe if I was camping or on the beach somewhere or something, and just, looking up. Of course, putting on mosquito repellent. We have quite a lot of mosquitoes in Australia. So I used to do that a fair bit when, I guess late teens, early 20s, and, maybe even sleep on the beach. If it was a bad weather, maybe sleep inside the car, but if it was good weather, then outside. Okay, so I leave that. We are talking about positive change, both from the point of view of practicing the Dharma and improving ourselves, improving our mind, but also improving our body, and also related to worldly things as well, as mentioned last week briefly, relation to our type of work we engage in, our hobbies, the studies, if we're engaging in studies. Of course, we are engaging in studies because we're studying the Dharma and contemplating the Dharma, putting it into practice. And actually, all of the worldly activities that I can mention, just mentioned and will mention, is none other than your Dharma practice. If you keep your mind upright, it's not separate from your Dharma practice. Sometimes, of course, we can go away on meditation retreats or even into a cave in the wilderness, out somewhere, stay away from people and groups of people to improve ourselves that way, improve our concentration and the like that way. But we are still in the world. Some people think, oh, I turn my back on the world. No, you can't turn your back on the world. You can remove yourself from all of the physical things, the outside things that may distract you because of your mental habits, actually, not because of those things. The distractions actually happen in your own mind. But sometimes we need to do that. Even something as simple as finding a place in your house or in your garden or something that is kind of removed from all of the normal distractions that you have, so that you can more easily get into the practice and remain in the practice, and remain with a good concentration, whatever level you have right now. but also realize that all of these distractions in the world are outside of yourself, because you have created the distractions inside. It also means that you can undo them. Just using the example of a knot again, you can undo the knots that you've created through the habit of distraction and having attachment to distraction. And so we can improve ourselves this way. We can improve ourselves to be more moral with our body, our speech, and our mind. Less immoral. We can improve, as just mentioned, our concentration and our focus, decrease distractions. And as we do this, our wisdom naturally becomes wider. The knowledge becomes wider. The compassion, our ability, or enabling ourselves to utilize our ability to be more compassionate and more considerate. So I'll just have a little look at my notes here. Actually, it's very funny because these notes on the back of the page I kept, as recycled paper. And I wrote for last week's class quite large letters, so I didn't have to put on my reading glasses to read those poems that I read to you and explained to you last week. And then I had some other ideas. And so I looked over in the back of the page. It's actually the shopping list. So not the one we do for ourselves, but actually the one, the printout from the supermarket. So excuse me while I look at it. It's kind of messy. So a consistent improvement, remember that phrase. I come up with it so that you can remember that phrase. Okay, so that you can remember what it is we're doing in practicing the Dharma, but also in our worldly activities too. We're looking to consistently improve ourselves. As mentioned, I think last week, if we are practicing well, doing the right thing in the right direction, then we're going to be better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow. So it's a consistent improvement, making positive change, to ourselves. I'll also talk in a moment about outside things too. Remember that it's important to know that we can only ever do one thing at a time. It may appear that we're doing two things or more than that at a time, but we can never really complete those things. It's one at a time that we actually complete it. Okay, so remember that. To use an old example again, if you want to get to the top of a hill, you take one step at a time. You breathe one breath at a time. Even though it may look like a long way to get up, you have to make a lot of effort. It may take a lot of time to get up to the top of the hill, but really all you're doing is in each moment you are breathing a breath, you are taking a step. And keep your mind in that. And once again, use an old, very well-known saying that life is about journey, really, rather than just destination, So work to improve ourselves. I reiterate, to have less distraction, and realize as well that, we don't actually need a lot to survive, both from a mental point of view, but also from a physical point of view. You can have extra things, obviously, especially in the world we live in today. If you want to do certain things, such as this Zoom class, have to have a computer, you have to have internet access. But really the requisites are shelter and clothing, as mentioned, food, water, air, and also need a toilet, somewhere to go to the toilet. And so that you can, even if it's a hole in the ground, that you can cover it up later, it becomes compost, especially if you have vegetarian diet. So excuse my humor. Anyway, so the next thing I'd like to mention is we can do our little bit to slow down global warming, to create less pollution. And one of the ways that not many people think about in relation to this is to consume less. Reuse bags, for instance. You don't have to get a new TV every year. You don't have to get a new car every year, or even a new computer. Utilize what you have. This is not, the economists and the governments probably won't like to hear me say something like this, but if you consume less, you also spend less, which means that you actually don't have to work to have, take all of your time gathering money so that you can spend it. Do it if you like, fine, up to you. But if we consume less, then we're going to create less rubbish. We're going to create, less pollution. And so we should do our bit, even if it's tiny. You look at, if you compare ourselves to those large polluting companies and some countries around the world, basically, you have, I think my picture's gone all funny. Hopefully I'm not frozen. But I'll keep talking anyway, okay? So if we can do a little bit, then not only does this help us in ourselves, in our practice, and also help a little bit in relation to slowing down global warming, slowing down the climate change, and helping others, but also be a good influence for others around us as well. So that's that one. Improve ourselves, have positive change by lessening our wants and lessening our not wants. In other words, decreasing our attachment, decreasing our aversion. That doesn't mean you don't get what you want, okay? It doesn't mean you don't avoid not getting what you don't want, but don't let it disturb your mind. So lessen your wants, lessen your not wants. This relates to Dharma practice, but also worldly things, okay? Once again, less likes and dislikes, very similar. We're always wanting what we like or what we think we like, and always trying to push away what we think we dislike. But this is all part of existence, isn't it? Cycle of existence. Sometimes you get things you don't want. Sometimes you will get things you want. And it's up to you whether you like it or not. But if you can give up or lessen this idea and clinging to liking and not liking, then you'll be much better off. You'll be free from all of these concerns and worries. Be less sensitive. This is one way that, the teaching on emptiness, you can apply it in a conventional way, even if you don't understand it, even if it is really a far-fetching concept right now still. Then you can apply it by saying, the Buddha said, there is no self. The Buddha said to go beyond even this dualistic idea of self and no self. And that's what the emptiness of self is, shunyata, okay? Go beyond that, even though it's a concept right now. But the Buddha taught this. My teachers have taught this. I shouldn't take everything to heart. Somebody abuses you physically, hopefully not. But let's say verbally, make it easier right now. Don't get offended. Wish that person find happiness, causes of happiness, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and that they be more peaceful. Don't take it upon yourself. You don't need to do that. See it like they are spitting on the sky. In other words, the spit comes back on themselves, never on you. Do it like the Aikido, martial arts, deflect. Then the energy remains theirs. Like I said before, give you a present, you don't have to accept the present. Okay, so give you negative energy, you don't have to accept that. Be less sensitive. Excuse me. Also, we can be less selfish. All we have to do there is consider others, even if we are experiencing big-time difficulties. There's always people in the world that have it tougher. And just think of those and think, I wish they'd be free from suffering. And then the selfishness diminishes, we can be more considerate of others. That doesn't mean you kowtow to them all the time. No. If you see people behaving well, then think, I can improve like that. If you see people behaving badly, wish that they, wake up to themselves and stop that. But don't soak that up yourself. Be more considerate, okay? Also, we can improve our Dharma practice in the sense of the Eightfold Path, become more understanding, the real understanding. You can improve your state of mind, having the right thoughts, intentions more often and more often. You can improve your speech, your actions, and your way of living or livelihood. You can improve your efforts in the right direction. You can improve your mindfulness practice and your concentration. You can also improve your generosity, increase this. Improve our morality, our patience, and so on and so forth. Become more kind, more compassionate. I don't know when it went under a minute, so maybe I'll get cut off in mid-sentence today. But I look forward to starting the next subject. We'll do a few weeks of introductions and then an overview or a few overviews before we get into the nitty-gritty of each verse, each word, and so on and so forth. I rejoice in your goodness and your practice. Stay well, take care. Stay healthy, mind and body.